What is up guys, and welcome back to another My Team Career Mode video. And today we're going to Brazil. Now before we start the race weekend, I want to switch out some old engine parts. But if we do that, we will incur some penalties, because we'll have to switch to our 4th ICE. Luckily the Brazilian Grand Prix is a sprint race weekend, so we will have both quali and the sprint race to get ourselves a good starting position. Okay, penalty warning, so the new ICE will give us a 10th place grid drop. Now our turbocharger is also worn, and it's the same story as the ICE. If we switch, we will incur a penalty, but I'm willing to take the risk, so let's go ahead and switch to a 4th turbo as well. Now with that issue settled, we still need to focus on the Season 2 regulation changes. We've got almost 2000 R&D points, so let's adapt some of our engine parts to the new regulations. Okay, so this is the final R&D upgrade that we need to adapt. So we've managed to protect all of our R&D upgrades from the Season 2 regulation changes. Okay, now onto the race weekend. It looks like Mercedes is the fastest car on the grid right now. They've overtaken us and Ferrari in terms of car performance. And McLaren is joining the top teams. They're almost as quick as Red Bull right now. So we will have 10 cars fighting for podium positions. That's gonna be interesting. Let's see how fast we are. Let's go to qualifying. P2 for the sprint race. We were so close to pole though. Do remember that we still have that 20 place grid penalty, so if we don't win the sprint we will start from the back. Now let's go to the sprint race.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint, not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Phoenix completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, and Russell, Perez, Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Esteban Ocon, and Magnussen, Albon, Vettel, Lance Stroll, and Pierre Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Tsunoda, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint. As all the cars take their positions on the grid, the final preparations have been made and all that's left is for the drivers to deliver on track.
well done. Lando ahead. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. That's Hamilton behind. Less than a second separates you. They're on fresh mediums. Okay, so gap to the leader is 1.6 seconds. Look after these tyres now. You want to finish the race on this compound. And 11 laps to go. DRS is being enabled this lap. You can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. So we're leading our teammate by 3.2 seconds. Hamilton behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old, and the time last lap was a 1:10.6. And some information on Leclerc. They seem to have an issue. Okay, clear. Okay, you sat in P2. Norris just ahead. Push for the position. Less than a second separates you. They're on fresh mediums. Hamilton's behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. And that's 8 laps to go. But be aware, these tyres need to go the distance. Okay, you've got front wing damage. This will have a major impact on performance unless you box for a new one. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Copy that. Just 5 laps of fuel remaining. Verstappen behind you now, and the gap behind us is 0.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 10.4. Caution, caution. And Verstappen's behind. Less than a second separates you. They're on old mediums. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. We've got enough fuel for 3 more laps. You're leading the pack, that's P1. Verstappen behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. 2 laps left. Next time by will be your final lap. 1 lap of fuel remaining. That's 3 wins in a row, mate. Unbelievable work.
That's P1 in the sprint. What a race, what a race. If the Grand Prix is as eventful as this sprint, we're in for a good one. Let's go to the race.
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic São Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and just 4 years later, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights, for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez, and Hülkenberg. They've taken a grid penalty. Bottas, Russell, Albon, and Lando Norris. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll, Tsunoda, Kevin Magnussen. They've taken a grid penalty. And Mick Schumacher, Gasly, Ocon, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Sebastian Vettel, Latifi, Joe, Phoenix, and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. And now it's time to head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
P19, you have P19 now. Leclerc is ahead of you, less than a second separates you. They're on fresh mediums. Zhu behind. They're on fresh mediums. Your pit window will open in 14 laps time. Okay, there are 35 laps left in this race. DRS now available. We think we might see some rain, ETA about 15 minutes. Ahead of you, less than a second separates you. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:12.1. Closing by 0.4 a lap. Keep it going. Overtake button more, it's time to utilise some of this energy, come on. Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now. Okay, dry seems like the best tyre for now. By 6.7 seconds. You're in 14th position. Okay, Magnussen ahead. And gap to the car in front is 1.1 seconds. They're on old mediums. Ocon behind. You you've got 10 laps until your pit window opens. Pit window opens in 10 laps. All right, 31 laps to go now. Nice move, good job. Tsunoda's ahead of you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 6 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 12.4. This is excellent stuff. You're closing in by 7/10 a lap. Okay, we're sat in P12 now. Stroll ahead. Less than a second separates you. They're on old mediums. Okay, Tsunoda's behind you. They're on old mediums. Our gap to first place is 14.6 seconds. Your pit window opens in 8 laps time. 29 laps to go. Albon's ahead of you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:12.6. This is excellent stuff. You're closing in by 7/10 a lap. Lap outs yet, but it is coming, so be careful. Currently the fastest lap is at 1 minute 10.8. Okay, you're in ninth position. Lando's ahead of you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Albon behind. They're on old mediums. Okay, gap to leader, 15.7 seconds. And that's 6 laps until your pit window's open. 27 laps to go. car suggests weather's going to hit in around 5 minutes time, so stay on your toes. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Okay, we've got plenty of energy. Use the overtake button and have a go. Come on, you can do this. Okay, gap ahead is 4.2 seconds. Okay, dries seem like the best tyre for now. That's 8th place, you're in 8th place. Bottas is ahead of you now. Our gap to the car in front is 3.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Norris is behind you. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. The distance to the leader is 18.1 seconds. Your pit window is going to open in 3 laps time. Pit window opens in 3 laps. 24 laps to go. Approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Strategy available on the MFD. Understood, copy that. Okay, be mindful of the conditions, the track's getting wetter. Recommend you stay out from now though, we'll be much slower if we move on to inters this early. Bottas ahead. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 2.6 seconds. They're on old mediums. They've done 14 laps on those tyres now. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:12.4, and you're closing by 0.4 a lap. Keep it going. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Okay, copy that. Nico's coming in for his stop now. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Be very careful. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now. Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more. And gap to the car in front is 4.4 seconds. Our gap behind is 2.0 seconds. Bottas is ahead of you now. Okay, gap ahead is 4.4 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. Their tyres are 2 laps old, and the time last lap was a 1:18.4. car behind by 5/10 a lap. Bottas ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 4.1 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. Their tyres are 3 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1:18.9. Gaining by around 0.2 per lap. Keep going. Happy that we're on the right tyres at the moment. Okay, some information on Norris. They've got an issue with their car, they're going to be slow. So the rain's easing off a bit, but the track is still going to be wet for a while, be careful. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Okay, clear. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 3.6 seconds. Sat in P8, well done. Bottas is ahead of you now, and gap to the car in front is 3.0 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. That's Stroll behind you. Okay, the gap behind is 4.4 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. Okay, so gap to the leader is 29.6 seconds. Look after these tyres now, you want to finish the race on this compound. Alright, 16 laps to go. The rain's getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out. Gap to your teammate ahead is 8.5 seconds. Your overtake button for more power, we need to push. Bottas ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 2.1 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. Okay, their tyres are 7 laps old. Time last lap was a 1 minute 19.0. Okay, so you're gaining by around 6/10 a lap. Tyre condition still looking good. Bottas is ahead of you now. Our gap to the car in front is 1.1 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Their tyres are 9 laps old, and the time last lap was a 1:18.9. You're closing by 4/10 a lap. Keep it going. Happy that we're on the right tyres at the moment. The gap on the car behind by 5/10 a lap. tyres, manage your tyres. That's 8th place, you're in 8th place. Bottas ahead, less than a second separates you. They're on old intermediates. Stroll behind, and the gap behind us is 6.3 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Our gap to first place is 33.8 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Okay, we're into the last 10 laps now. Radar showing a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now. Okay, you're doing well out there, keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain, 10 minutes. Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy. Okay, battery's looking good. You can use the overtake button to get past. Car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap. Well done. made it look so easy. And you've got P7, 7th place. Nico's ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 9.0 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Bottas is behind you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old intermediates. Okay, gap to leader, 37.6 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. All right, 6 laps to go now. Left of this rain, then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now. And gap to the car in front is 8.9 seconds. Ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 8.9 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Their tyres are 17 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 18.1. Okay, so you're gaining by 1/10 a lap. Okay, I think we're still the right tyres for the time being. Okay, Bottas behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.6 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Their tyres are 18 laps old. Time last lap was a 1:18.5. 8.7 seconds. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. That's P7 now, P7, Nico's ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 9.2 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Okay, Bottas behind. Our gap behind is 2.1 seconds. They're on old intermediates. The distance to the leader is 40.9 seconds. Look after these tyres now, we want to finish the race on this compound. 2 laps left, next time by will be your final lap. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining, 5 laps of fuel left. So we're looking at another 5, maybe 10 minutes of this race. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's a spectacular victory, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Phoenix. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula 1.